Takes with our friend Patrick Egan. Patrick, how are you?
Hey, Pat.
Real quick on the Chappelle stuff, I was running and grabbing stuff for the segment here, but he hates Viacom. Absolutely hates him. Cat Williams did a whole interview, I think on The Breakfast Club maybe, about the whole situation. And basically he went to renegotiate the deal with Viacom after Chappelle's show became a huge success. And they basically reneged on their agreement and gave him a, take it or leave. Landed. They had perpetuated this lie that he was doing crack in God knows where. So he hates Viacom, and I think that's part of the reason, because Viacom is getting the money from Chappelle's show. And when he saw it, yeah, but he was like, no, it's the principle, the fact that Viacom did me dirty like that. No, I have three, and it sucks.
But he does acknowledge in this other interview that they had every legal right to do what they did.
Well, they did. I mean, technically
and he left
they did.
the show.
Yeah, he signed over the ticket to Viacom. It sucks because it was only on for 3 weeks.
Is that, okay, so it was that short?
Yeah,
Okay,
it was. And I watched 2 episodes. I was with you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I forgot how funny this show. My wife had never seen it, so I started showing it to her.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a shame, but good for him, I guess.
Definitely sketch.
The racist,
White supremacist.
And I'm watching it and I'm going, oh my God, they could never get away with this today.
Amazing.
3 things seem to be a constant on Sundays in Philly. Carson Wentz struggles. Doug Peterson doesn't take any real accountability. Let's dive into the first one. Yeah, I think you're the leader of that clubhouse there, Jamie.
No, I try not to do it.
Let's dive into the first one. Wentz has struggled. Hard to deny, even for the staunchest Wentz supporter like myself. Take a backup quarterback in the second round. It's out of Jalen Hurts. I mean, after all, that one time they let him throw, it was sexy AF, right? It's understandable why fans want Hurts. The coaching staff and organization really has been, whether it's J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Andre Dillard, Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. Sharif Miller was a real find in the fourth round. To kick off their new quarterback factory, they took Clayton Thorson. So, look, they have a history of success. Yes, the organization knows talent. So bring on the Hurts era, I guess. Well, if you're in that camp that thinks that Hurts should start on Sunday, like Sal Pal, you aren't alone, because our old pal DK Metcalf took to Instagram and left a comment on a post from ESPN posing the question if an emphatic yes. Somehow, DK Metcalf talking about...
I know that everyone jumped on this, but here's my take on it. And all the takes we'll give you. Your opponent naming your backup quarterback? Like,
exactly.
No, like, I'd rather play against that guy, too, because he's not as good.
I'm pretty sure he would have said yes if the question was Carson Wentz or Nate Sudfeld. Should Nate Sudfeld be the starting quarterback?
Yes, Nate Sudfeld. You make that happen. The one exception was Mike Vick over Kevin Cobb. Because I remember when Clay Matthews took Kevin because Michael Vick was going to come into the game. Only exception. Only exception. Only time they frowned upon a backup coming in the game.
Jamie, you got anything on this?
To put myself through the DK Metcalf ringer anymore because, I love Phillies.
No, you don't.
You want to talk about
His
professionally?
backup was pretty good.
Hey, Wally was a good player.
But by the way, you proved my point, Pat, that I've been making all morning long. That if Jalen Hurts is going to go in this game, if he was going to go in any game, and they thought he was anything special, the Eagles, then he would have played already. And he hasn't done anything.
I mean, that one play he had this past weekend was,
he had a good run against the Ravens.
It's almost the end of what's probably been the worst year, but there's still about 6 weeks left. Plenty of time for things to get weird, and look no further than the most exciting state in the country, Utah. Utah is known for Karl Malone, Ty Detmer, and the home of many wives. It's kind of like Iowa. There's nothing really going on there. But that all changed recently when the Utah Wildlife Agency was busy herding sheep. They noticed something down below in the middle of literally nowhere. It's a giant steel monolith. It's about 12 feet tall. They don't have this out on our Twitter account at 975 Morning. So if you go there shortly, you can see pics. It definitely has a 2001 A Space Odyssey vibes to it. Creepiest part is wildlife officials said that if people try to search for the monolith, there's a real chance that they could get lost because this thing is, as I said, in the middle of the Utah desert. So who the hell put it there? I think we can all come to the conclusion that aliens,
no question,
having streamed The Last Dance on Netflix, have poisoning and Michael Jordan.
Wow. That's a poll.
Real quick, does everybody here believe in aliens?
Yeah. I don't believe in aliens. I acknowledge they exist.
Well, okay, sure. Bob?
I'm going to go with no.
What? How selfish can you be?
So you're
JFK?
You're gonna spit in the face of President Carter, who claims he saw one? You're gonna spit in that man's face? Well, Habitat for Humanity?
How?
I started the space program to find them, and we haven't yet.
How selfish of you.
Dude, you got to watch one of the Unsolved Mysteries
I was
things.
the one who put us in space.
Yeah,
I mean,
that alien one was creepy as hell.
Yeah, it was.
And that was
creepy
a
as
whole
hell.
that was a whole city,
A whole town.
Think about how big in galaxies, and there's several galaxies.
Exactly.
And you think we're the only people here, Bob?
Yeah.
So that means that nail could be a whole little universe
it would have to be real.
of you.
I didn't.
Yeah, it's
I
been a
barely
while.
listen when you talk.
Oh, my
Why? What was
God.
it?
When they're all getting stoned with their teacher, if I had to explain, it's not. And he brings up, so you mean to tell me that in my fingernail could be one little truth?
That's
Yeah,
a
I
pretty
didn't
obscure
retain that.
animal.
Oh, yeah, no, that's obscure. Every
Obscure
movie
one.
reference you
Donald
get, that's
Sutherland's
fine.
in that
What's the
movie
word?
for like 3 minutes.
And they see his bare ass.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
By the way, Donald Sutherland in The Undoing, I can't recommend enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's not the one that's naked, is he?
No,
All right,
no.
cool. Is it a
he's
lady?
already done. Been there, done that.
All right,
Full
good,
frontal lady is very attractive.
There you go. All right.
Twitter account, I just tweeted out, so if you want to
Oh,
take
It's
a
the
look.
beginning, but right now, like, you look at that video. Tell me that's not the opening scene to a sci-fi movie.
It's Thor.
It's like Thor's gonna.
Figured it out. As I said, they're shutting up shop.
Yeah.
If you're in your mid-30s or younger, stretch before turning my career towards radio.
That's a terrible name.
Well, it worked for a little bit, but, we all have to transition in life. Rap is kind of like basketball. Everyone seems to think they're way better at it than they actually are, and they can't wait to show you. And bad rap can be, I'm a testament to that. Another thing that can be pretty cringeworthy is some of these NBA contracts. Combine all of these things, bad Gordon Hayward. Hayward somehow managed to convince Michael Jordan to give him a 4-year, $120 million deal last week when he was at Butler, and it's obvious that career wasn't an option. So take a listen to Gordon Hayward, a.k.a. Sleazy G.
Yo, I drive to the cup, just call me Ronnie. Step back, 3 balls,
Yep.
wet like the sunny.
Let it flow in your eardrums.
Huh?
I can't.
Just call me
Wait.
Oh my God.
Just give me 10 more seconds. It gets real good when the beat drops. Here it comes.
Cause I got the mid-range game on the line. Call me King James.
What? Yes, his new boss, Michael Jordan, was asked to comment on the awful bars. And here's what Michael Jordan thought of Sleazy E.
I never read that out.
So this is a message to all athletes out there.
Anything worse than someone who thinks they can really, really, really sing well who can't?
No.
Is there anything worse than that?
No.
Somebody that thinks they can really.
Pleasing to the eyes.
Did you just describe Mark? Because I've heard him sing and I've seen him
Mark.
dance.
I didn't see it. Say that.
Well, I can do both, fortunately.
All right, right now.
Screw you, Egan.
Well, Egan fancies himself a really good dancer.
I mean, you guys have seen the moves in here.
If we're ever at this,
I don't see that happening.
We're gonna throw down.
I mean,
What do you mean? We're a couple of Catholic school kids from the Philly area. We probably got mutual friends.
So
we
when
don't even know about.
the D train gets married, we'll be there. All right, because you can't spell party without Pat. Try it. You can't do it. Right now in Philly, we think we know something about bad coaches. Hell, we just had Brett Brown get run over by 20-year-olds for the past 7 seasons.
Wow.
We had Dave Haxtell light up the city with his infectious personality.
It's aggressive.
Would be fired.
Oh, goddamn.
And then there's Doug. Hired to the fanfare of literally no one, Doug Peterson proved that most people were wrong by winning the team's first Super Bowl in 2018. I'd like to remind people of that because since then Peterson is this Doug's fault?
No and no.
Well, apparently Philly isn't the only city with coaching problems. I introduce you to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are a dumpster fire. They had arguably their best player put his house on the market after a game in an attempt to get traded. By the way, they have AJ Green to the point where he's seen on the sidelines mouthing, "Just trade me." And all of this going down under the watch of Zach Taylor, who is Press Taylor, the guy who's been stealing money from the Eagles organization as a, quote, quarterback's coach, really doing yeoman's work. Well, it appears the two Taylors have something in common. They're crappy coaches. The Bengals are 2-7-1. I know.
Wow,
Some
aggressive.
Takes, man.
I know.
Yeah, some team was so bad they actually tied the Bengals. I'm not gonna tell you who, but
This has to be coming from someone who hates Thanksgiving.
Yeah, really.
The 2-win Bengals aren't a team united. SI.com recently put a story out that the culture in the locker room is so bad that it's going to an unnamed player. Coaches apparently use abuse. There's zero accountability. Normally, this is part of the story where I tell you it can always be worse, but in reality, it just seems like a slightly worse AFC version of the Eagles. And we'll move on.
Was there supposed to be a setup to that? Like, was there a setup?
No, it's just...
Or was just as a Bengals report?
Showing you that the Bengals are as bad as the Eagles right now, and I'm taking shots at Press Taylor because the guy sucks.
When you give that many takes in a bit, we can't say anything.
Yeah, I don't know what.
I agree. You said it all.
Brandon Allen starting for him. I actually like Brandon Allen. I know it's the most random. Take a flyer, a Razorback.
Who likes
Whatever.
Brandon Allen?
I don't know.
Brandon Allen's family doesn't like Brandon Allen.
Wow.
We'll move on
You're
to
an awful
He
human
really
being.
is.
Press Taylor you're hating on
Can't
his
wait till
family.
Thanksgiving's
yeah,
over
I'm
for
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize I walked into the
What?
Press Taylor, fan group here on the
Who
show.
you gonna play more, Press Taylor or Doug Peterson?
The Press Taylor fan appreciation
The only
show right
hotter
here.
take than
975
that
mornings.
is that you hate the Thanksgiving, you weirdo,
975 mornings, where we talk about Press Taylor.
and love Thanksgiving.
All right, birthdays today.
What do you got?
Bernie Kosar, whose daughter became a porn star. Look it up.
I will, as a matter of fact.
Wow. All right, I'll throw on the
Why wouldn't I?
incognito tab.
Say no more. Chris Carter. All he does is catch touchdown
Yeah,
passes.
damn right he does.
And former Sixer all-time great T-Book, Trevor Booker.
Oh, wow.
Was here for about 37 minutes.
Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, and then there's this other guy.
Oh,
You might have
jeez.
heard of him. Donovan McNabb. Number 5 will always love you.
Yay!
Love him back. Wish him a happy birthday.
There you go.
Number 5 will always love you.
And Pat Summerall broadcast their in front of the TV for
Following football, murder, she wrote.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Really? No. It was a gag between the two to see how long Summerall could wait to say she wrote.
Murder. You know, I listened to Pat Summerall gave a eulogy at Tom Brookshire's funeral.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of times at funerals, people put themselves in the position, what will they say at mine? And I was just like, no, a eulogy at a wedding, at a funeral. And he was great, and that, all of it.
He would not have survived as long as he did Summerall without Tom Brookshire.
No, saved
it
his
was
life.
amazing.
Absolutely, saved his life.
In 1980, Sugar Ray Leonard won the WBC welterweight title, but that's kind of bearing the lead because the real story of that fight is Roberto Duran. So everybody else
they made
says
a
he said no
movie
mas.
about it, so that means it's true.
I watched it, and you got Ana de Armas, and she's not wearing. Season 2, Ozzie Newsome became the first black general manager in the NFL, taking over the Baltimore Ravens. That seems to have worked out.
Yeah,
He's phenomenal.
They've done well. They've done well for themselves.
And that is all.
November 25th, 1963, I was laid to rest.
The Eternalians. 610-632.
Mark Farzetta with Bob Cooney and Jamie Lynch. Mornings on 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia.